I'm having a problem.
Hi, everybody. So glad to see all of these lovely faces. I won't see you in a few moments, though, because we're going to dim the house lights, and then I don't know if you leave or not. I hope you clap loud.
Don't worry, I'm not going to tell any jokes. Good evening, everybody. So my name is Brett McDougall. I'm the Arts and Culture Coordinator for the town of New Glasgow and acting manager here at Glasgow Square. Wanted to give you a warm welcome to the venue. This is actually the first live show that we've done since December. So we're really excited to be back. We're really excited to have you guys here with us tonight. Before we begin, we would just like to acknowledge that the town of New Glasgow and Glasgow Square are located in Mi'kma'ki, the unceded ancestral territory of the Mi'kmaq people. This territory is covered by the Treaties of Peace and Friendship, which Mi'kmaq and Maliseet people first signed with the British Crown in 1725. We are extremely grateful and honored to be able to continue to present and support performing arts here on this land. Just a couple of quick housekeeping items before we do get started. Just a reminder, COVID-19 rules are still in effect until Monday. That means that all guests do have to wear a mask at all times, except while you're actively eating or drinking.
So drink lots.
More drinks, less mask. And just please make sure that you try your best to maintain at least 6 feet of physical distance between yourself and members who are not members of your social group. Just be respectful of the distance between yourself and others while you are in the theater. If this is your first time joining us here at Glasgow Square, washrooms are just down this hall out here on the right. In the event of an emergency, our muster station is at the gazebo across the road. And if you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to contact any member of our team. We really want you guys to have a good time. We'd be more than happy to assist you. Huge thank you to our team. Glasgow Square is actually staffed almost entirely by volunteers. Big thank you to Judy and Kate, who are our service supervisors here. Terry and Gary and Stacy and Amanda, who are at the door. Broden and Michelle, who are behind the bar. Make sure to tip your bartenders. I don't get any of it, so I don't have any ulterior motive. But they really, it's a nice way to thank them for their service to performing arts here in our community. And of course, I want to give a huge thank you to this amazing lady standing next to me up here. Jenny has been such a huge win for Pictou County and for Glasgow Square. She organized this fantastic event. I'm going to let her talk a little bit more about the purpose behind this evening later on, but as a result of her hard work, we're going to be able to donate over $1,000 in Matt McGlashan's name to the Canadian Cancer Society. So for those of you who don't know, Matt was recently diagnosed with metastatic testicular cancer that has spread to several points in his pelvic region and his lungs, left parietal lobe, and cerebellum. We've been lucky enough to have Matt perform on our stage twice here over the past year, including to a full house as a local area headliner at our most recent comedy show back in November. Matt has been undergoing treatment and he's received a huge outpouring of support from the community, and he's inspired us to join forces and raise money to help people living with cancer just like him. So, huge round of applause for Danny, huge round of applause for Matt. He's a pretty amazing guy. So without further ado, I'm going to shut up. And I'm going to pass the mic over to Jenny Dean, who's going to host
Be your
our evening.
tour guide for the evening.
Perfect. Thank you. Enjoy the show.
Thank you, Brett. Give him a big round of applause. Thank you. I always love it when people come out here and compliment me while I stand right beside them staring annoyingly at them. You better say something nice, bitch. Cut you. Like Brett was saying, so our lovely friend Matt, if you've been to the show before, you know how hilarious he is. He's the big guy with the big afro. No longer has an afro. You'll see that later. But he'll be performing later on, so please stick around. Make sure you clap real loud for him. We are raising money for cancer. That's awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming out. This is our first comedy show here since November, our first big show back since the last lockdown. I hope you guys are ready to laugh and have a good night. The exits are over there and over there. You already paid your tickets, so suck it. I hope you enjoy it. Big thing, like Brett was saying, the bar is open. The more you drink, the funnier we are, right? So if you want to have a really good time, get loaded. Please don't drive drunk home, though. If you are loaded, come see me. I'll piggyback you home.
Oh, yeah.
It's part of my service, full service here. So we're going to start the show off. We have a bunch of comedians. So our show is all amateur, which means I don't pay them. Suck at this. They can still compete in the Olympics, is what it means. So it is an amateur show. Many of them are local. Many of them you probably went to school with because no one leaves this fucking town. And don't hold that against them. Let's give them a big round of applause. So first up, we have Sean. Sean is a very funny dude. I didn't write this. I'm going to assume he's funny. No, he's funny. He's really funny. He's coming back for his third time performing with us here. Hailing from the Dunning-Kruger School of Comedy, please welcome Sean Westhaver. Sean, come on out!
Thank you, Jenny. Can you imagine me in the Olympics? I smoke weed, I couldn't go. People say I'm brave for doing this, but I don't look at it that way. I feel like you guys are the ones that are brave. Because if I suck, it's only going to last 7 minutes for me, but if these guys all suck, you guys got to be here for 2 hours. So, but you're in luck. They're awesome. All right. I was going to lean on it, but I guess I'm not going to do that. All right. So last week, my Facebook got hacked. And if that's ever happened to you, you can relate. It absolutely sucked. I was terrified. I was sitting there minding my own business, watching TV. I get an email saying some shithead in Chicago is trying to steal your Facebook. If this is you, click here. So I clicked there. I'm gone. I don't know. I'm not very tech savvy, so I was in a flop sweat. I was panicking. I was so desperate. I called my tech-savvy ex-wife for an hour. I was on the phone with her for an hour at 11 o'clock at night, God love her, trying to figure out how to get my Facebook back. Even she couldn't figure it out. It was gone. So I had to start over. Please pay no attention to the cards. These are just props. I have it all memorized. So starting over sucks because nobody trusts you. I've had Facebook for almost 15 years to the day when I got hacked. So I'm adding all my friends back and nobody trusts you. They think you got hacked. Well, I did. But this is me, really honest. So to combat that, what I did was I started sending messages along with the friend request. Aunt Diana, this is me, your favorite nephew, Sean, just so you know it's me. Robin, our dads used to go back and forth to work together 35 years ago, just so you know it's me. James, this is me. You beat me in a playoff October 3rd, 2007, when I missed a 4-foot putt that still haunts me to this day. Just so you know it's me. I was in rough shape. So I was in such rough shape. Fixer Upper is like the #1 show on HGTV for women aged 35 to 40, which leads me to the very obvious question, how the hell am I still single? If this doesn't scream fixer-upper, I don't know what does. I mean, I got good bones, I got a good foundation. I can only imagine what Joanna Gaines would do with this. Probably something with shiplap. Couple good things about being single. It's not all bad. Couple good things. One good thing about being single is nobody cares how I do the housework. My kids don't care as long as they're not doing it. So most days I plan on doing the laundry. I fold it, I put it away, everything's fine. But some days I don't feel like that. I can't do that. So on those days, I ball up them sheets and I fire them into the linen closet. That's for future Sean to worry about, not today. Most days, my kitchen is spotless. Some days, I decide what I'm going to eat by what dishes are clean. So it's a balance. Another good thing about being single get on those dating apps, right? Those are fucking awesome. So I organized myself. I'm, getting up there in age, so I wanted to check something off the bucket list there, so I organized a threesome for myself a couple weeks ago. There were a couple of no-shows, but I had a good time. Now, before I go, I want to make mention of a couple people in the audience. My mom and dad are here. And, just wait, it gets better. A month ago yesterday, they celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary. So, I wanted to acknowledge that in public so that I would be a good son. And it's always easy for me to remember how long they've been married, because in about 9 months I turned 50. And my dad's my hero, and my mom is my best friend and my biggest fan, and she's also my inspiration. What I mean by that is, I've always wanted to be a stand-up comedian my whole life, and I've always been kind of funny, but the reason why I thought I would be good at being a stand-up is every time I was at a party, I'd always tell stories. Everybody gets a turn to tell a story, so I told stories about my life, and people laughed, and it was really fun. I enjoyed it. So I'm going to tell you one of those stories right now. When I was about 13, 14 years old, my sister and I were out in the kitchen, and we were arguing about something, probably the dishes. And I said, "Karen, you're such a dildo." And my mother, out in the living room, hears this. Now, I have to tell you something about my mom. My mom is a cross between Martha Stewart and Marion Cunningham from Happy Days. So she's like a very sweet, delicate lady, okay? And she hears me call my sister a dildo. So she comes out into the kitchen, "Sean Patrick David Westhaver." Now, my name's only Sean Patrick Westhaver, but when I'm in shit, I get the David. So, because that's my dad's name. So anyway, she goes, "Sean Patrick David Westhaver, do you even know what a dildo is?" And I said, "No." just a word. So my mom never wanted to shrink from a challenge. She screws her courage right up tight. She goes, turns about 17,000 shades of red. "It's an artificial penis." And walked away. My sister and I near died. That was the end of that fight, and that's the end of my set. Thank you very much.
That was awesome! Congratulations, Sean. That's great on your dildo story with your mother in the audience. I didn't get a chance to see where's his proud parents. You're a tiny woman. You birthed that thing, eh? Good job. All right. Next time, don't drop him on his head so much. Just thought. Next up, our next comedian is James Keast. He's a come from away, but don't hold that against him. He's a come from away who quit comedy forever 2 years ago and is now gracing us with his presence. He's decided to come out of his hole. He doesn't have any friends in town, so if you like basketball or smoking pot, it's a fucking Tinder ad. Please swipe right. And welcome James to our show. James, give it up!
Thank you, everyone. It's really nice of you to show up to witness my midlife crisis. It's what a crisis looks like if you can't afford a sports car. So I am new to New Glasgow. We moved here last June, and when we first got here, we were staying out of town with my wife's family, and so I was still getting my bearings, figuring out the lay of the land. So of course I asked, where's the pot store? I know, I don't seem the type. And so I'm told, oh, it's inside the LC. Now, I learned about the LC in a Sloan song many years ago, so I feel pretty comfortable. Great, where's the LC? Oh, it's beside the Sobeys. Okay, no problem, I know where that is. Now, I may have been born at night, but it wasn't last night, so I know that this is a Sobeys town. I suspect there might be more than one Sobeys. I should ask for follow-up details. So the Sobeys, like the liquor store's right beside it, right? Yep. Okay, and it's in like an outdoor mall kind of thing? Yep. Great, I know exactly where that is. Just to double down, just to make sure that I have the right place in mind. So the mall is in like an L shape, right? That's the one. And the Sobeys and the liquor store are on like the north end of the mall? Yep, okay, great, perfect, I know exactly where this is. So I head into town, and I go into the LC, and they say, you're in the wrong one. Are you serious, New Glasgow? Not only is there another Sobeys liquor store combo a kilometer away, but it fits the exact same description as this one? I never did find the other liquor store that day, by the way, because I couldn't find East River Road. I found Trenton Road. I found Archimedes. I could not find East River Road. It was only later that I realized that all three of those are the same. Because here's the thing, New Glasgow. You have too many street names and not enough streets. I like to imagine that this is the result of some long-standing historical conflict between the founding families of this area, and that this is just the remnant. I don't know what happened between the Abercrombies and the Fords, that the Stellartons had to step in and separate the two of them. I like to think of that stretch of Stellarton Road as kind of like a demilitarized zone where the Abercrombies of the north and the Fords of the south can come together in peace and enjoy some A&W. I like to think that this entire fictional history is commemorated every time a newcomer is confused or someone says, wait, what street are we on now? I have happy news though, and that is that we don't need to invent anything new. We've invented everything that we need, which is great. I know because we're well into inventing a ton of shit that we don't need at all. And top of that list for me is memory foam. There's no reason for memory foam to exist. I mean, my couch is shaped like me because I put in the time and the total lack of effort. I mean, that valley is my 10,000 hours. Also, this is how we tell that furniture is starting to wear down. When I come home and my wife tells me, the dog fell into your ass crack and couldn't get out, then I know we have to start thinking about getting a new couch. Memory foam's like, wait, we can speed that right up for you. And let's be honest, memory foam is not kind to the larger gentleman. Don't get me wrong, I'm tired after a long day of being confused by the streets of New Glasgow. I don't mind rolling into my street sleep trough at night. I rather enjoy waking up in a perfectly formed jello mold of my own body. But I feel like somehow it's cheating, somehow I'm not the one that made this tiny replica skateboard park on my side of the bed. I am starting to, I'm getting older. The weird thing about getting older is it's not the milestones that you hit, necessarily. Often it's the milestones that you miss, that just pass you by. You know, when you realize, you've reached a certain age and you realize, I'm never going to be a professional athlete. That one came early for me, I was 7. You know, I'm not going to make that hot 30 under the age of 30 list. That's in the rear view now. But one of the milestones, the weirder milestones that you don't really notice when it happens because you don't know it's going to be the last time, is the last time that you were carded for alcohol. Because then it just stops at a certain point, and you think back, like, when was this? But I remember specifically the last time because I was at an outdoor music festival, and they wouldn't give me a wristband for the beer tent because I didn't have proper ID on me. I was 39 years old with this beard, and they wouldn't give me one. Then something similar happened a few years later. I was at a show, going to a concert at a small club in Toronto, and I'm in line and I'm watching as I move up, and I noticed that the door guy seems like a real keener, like he's checking everybody, you know, people who are in their 30s, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? But I think maybe the outdoor festival wasn't my last chance, maybe this is it. So I'm watching him still, he's checking every single person, so, you know, I don't want to anticipate, I don't take my wallet out in advance or anything, but, so I get to the front of the line and he gives me this sort of quizzical look, and he says, there's a show here tonight? Okay, so this is an entirely new milestone. This is a, do you know where you are, sir? Milestone. This is do you know, is there perhaps someone looking for you? This is the phase of, have you wandered away from your long-term care facility? That is very disturbing. Another milestone that I recently passed is that I realized that I'm too old for the zombie apocalypse. When the zombies come, that's it, I'm out. Forget it. I can't do it. You know, you watch like a zombie movie or The Walking Dead or something, and there's often like that scrappy ragtag group of survivors, and as a viewer, you know, imagine that you're amongst them, but nope, not me. But James, you might say, if you remembered my name. There's often an older guy in that crowd, and I mean, if we're being honest, I mean, I do give off a bit of a doomsday prepper vibe. He probably kind of looks like me too. But that guy that you're thinking of as a rural beardo with survival skills, I am very much an urban beardo. The only hunting and gathering that I can do is in a record store. One of the things that I've realized living in New Glasgow, though, is if you need to get anything done, it's only about who you know. You need to know somebody who can, or know somebody else who. So I figured while I'm here, and you know, I have all these people here, there are actually a few jobs. So we need a mason. Anyone? Okay. I don't know the difference, but I'm afraid to ask. An arborist. Is there an arborist in the house? Anyone? We have some eaves troughs. Oh, you guys don't call them eaves troughs, do you? You call them gutters. A gutter person. Does anyone know a gutter person? Anyone?
Yeah, my kids.
Come on, looking at this crowd, you guys know some gutter people. Okay, well, I'll leave you with this. Since I have come here and I feel like I'm making a transition from urban beardo to rural beardo, I feel like I should develop some skills. And one of the things that I have sort of a romantic idea of is chopping wood. And I don't know if I watched too much Monty Python growing up as a kid. You know, I'm a lumberjack. I came of age in the grunge era, so I'm really fond of flannel. I don't know what it is, but I have this romantic notion of chopping wood. And we have a wood stove, and we have some firewood. I went out and got myself an axe. Everything's great. The only thing is that I don't have a stump. You know, you put the wood on the, and I don't know why I'm explaining wood chopping to you, but I don't have a stump for this job. And I don't know where you buy a stump in Glasgow. I mean, if this was Toronto, there are stump stores like all over the place. But here I don't know. So first I got a line on a firewood guy. That seemed like an appropriate choice. So I called him and I said, explained what I was looking for. And he says, why wouldn't you just use a wood splitter? Well, in that moment, I'm too embarrassed to admit that I don't know what that is. So I just said, look, I'm just looking for a stump. And he said, okay, I'll see what I can do and I'll get back to you. And he never called me back. So my next idea was the country store. I don't know exactly what the country store sells. It seems to be boots. But I figured if anyone would have a line on a stump, it might be the people there. So I went to the country store and I asked them if they knew where I could get a stump. And the woman at the country store just looked at me and said, why wouldn't you use a wood splitter? Just as at that moment, I'm saved by a customer who happens to be walking by, and he says, you should go to the sawmill in Westville. Sawmill in Westville. This seems like a great lead. So off I go to the sawmill in Westville, and I go into their little office, explain what I'm looking for. Well, there's a big pile of stumps at the back of the lot. You're welcome to go back there and see if you can find something. So, fantastic. Just as I'm leaving, she says, don't hurt yourself. You can just imagine some come from away breaks his leg on the lumberyard and just ruins this poor woman's whole day. But anyway, so off I go. Just a fantastic selection of stumps back there, just amazing. So I find the perfect one, I load it into the car, I drive back to the office, and because I'm not going to steal it. So I go back to the office, I found the stump, what do I owe you? And she looks at me like I'm crazy and says, we're not going to charge you for one stump. So, this is not like the boutique stump stores back in Toronto. So wow, that's extremely generous. I thank her very much and I go to leave. And just as the door is closing behind me, I hear her say, not really to me, more sort of quietly to herself, I just hear her say, I don't know why he's not just using a wood splitter. Well, I'm going to go home and think about what I've done. Thank you very much for having me.
Big round of applause for James. That was awesome. His first time on our stage. Thank you. Thank you, like I did something, right? Thank you. It was great. So I hope everybody's drinking. I see some tables that are bare. So I'm just saying, the bar is still open if you want to go and get anything. Next up, I was thinking about a set too. I'm a come from aware as well. And I totally did. Did we get an answer on the gutter cleaner? Because does mine also need cleaning? And I was thinking about it. James had that lovely little bit about his fantasies about lumberjacks. I also have fantasies about lumberjacks. They're probably not the same fantasies James is having about lumberjacks. Maybe they are. I don't know, though. We'll find out in the next set. Next up, we have Ray Burns. Ray Burns has been here before on our stage. We know him. We love him. He's here tonight because he would rather have 100 strangers stare at him blankly than spend one more minute at home with his fucking kids. March break hit harder this year, right? Like, that was... Fuck, is it over yet? Like, holy shit. I feel like I've had so much time with my kids. I love them, but I also want to kill them. So let's give a big round of applause to Ray Burns! Come on up, Ray!
Hello, everyone. I don't want you to stare at me blankly. I'd actually like it if you laughed. A little bit, anyway. So like Jenny said, my name is, Ray, that's it, yeah, exactly. This is my second time doing this, so I'm a little nervous. And they say when you're nervous in front of a crowd, you should probably picture everybody in their underwear. Now I'm looking out here tonight, and I'm thinking, nope. Some of you people, I do not want to see in your underwear. Like, no offense, but Anyway, you're probably thinking the same thing about me. Well, at least I wore clean underwear. Well, they were clean when I put them on anyway. Like I said, I'm a little nervous. I might have had an accident. But, you know, it happens to us all the time, doesn't it? Isn't that right, you know?